Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm teaching all about canning. I had a follower asking me about what would be the best kind of canning supplies to buy. So I'm just going to go over it now, and then Thursday when I do a live, if you have any questions, I'll have all of this out again and we can talk about it then. There's two types of canners. There's a water bath canner and there's a pressure canner. I'm going to go over the water bath first. This is the normal water bath canner that you would buy in a store, and these are pretty reasonable. So tall, and they're wide, so you can fit enough jars in here. I think this one holds 8 or 9, and then it also depends on if you use small mouth or large mouth. Don't make the mistake I did. I filled it up at the sink, and then I tried to pick it up and walk it to my stove. I needed help. Don't try to do that. Use something else to fill it up if you're by yourself. What you would do is you would put your canning jars in this, and then you would lower it in the water. And then when it's ready to come out, you would be putting it on the side of the tin like that, and then have your jars out of the water. If you're going to really invest in canning, I would encourage you go ahead and get one of these big ones. That way it comes with all the supplies you need for that. Now, here's some other options that you have. I have a lot of stock pots. So I have a wide one, and it's pretty big as well. I have a taller one that's a little smaller, and then I have a regular stock pot like this. You can use any kind of pot that you want, as long as you want to make sure that when you put a jar inside of here, that you're going to be able to put enough water to over that jar, because you need to have it boiling above that jar. So this pot would not be good to put these in, because notice you're seeing it right there. But you could use these are called pint size. You could use these for pint size. The other thing that you do not want to do is you do not want to directly put any jar on the pan bottom. But there are things that you can do. I have purchased these to where I can lay it in the bottom when I'm putting my water in it. And now these float, so you got to be careful. So get it down in there and then start putting your jars on it. The other thing that I've done before I had that is I just put a towel down in there, and then I put my jars on it. Just understand, when it starts boiling, this towel kind of does its own thing. So anything you can to keep it off the bottom of this. A friend at church who said that they use like a pie tin, those aluminum ones, and they poked holes in it, and then they set that on the bottom with the smaller side up, and then you can put the cans on that. That's another idea. Okay, so let's move on to pressure canners. I have the All-American model number 930. It will double stack quart size in here. Same concept. You cannot have the jar sitting on the bottom. So you've got one of these, and notice it's a thinner one, and it has holes. You got one of these at the bottom, and then once you get your first layer on, you'll put these on for the second layer. And then this has notches where it will lock. And then you are going to screw this down as tightly as you can without, breaking the handle. But you're going to make sure that this is real secured before you add the pressure to it. And depending on where you live, this is the pressure knob. And it's heavy. And it has 5, 10, 15 on it. Now I'm at 722 above sea level. You'll want to put in your city and state. Just Google it, and then it will give you that. And then you can also put in there, what poundage do I need for my pressure canner? If not, give me your altitude and I can tell you that. So mine's 10, and once I have this going, then I put this on and make sure the number 10 is the one that's pointing down. And then that does my 10 pounds per pressure. Now, I also get a question on, when do you start counting? When you put this on, No, the count for, it's usually pints are 75, quarts are 90. That's the overall, pretty much stays within that range, but that is adjustable depending on what you're canning too. But those are two of the times that go a lot. So you're going to have this. I usually put it on my stove like between 4 and 6. So that's between low medium to medium. And then once this starts going and it's jiggling like that, pretty consistent, that's when I start my timer. I would start the 75 minutes from that point going forward, or the 90 minutes. These do cost some money. I think they can range anywhere between $350 to about $600. They might even be more. They also have smaller ones that you can get in where it would just fit the quart side and everything else on the bottom. I really like this one. People are also talking about electric canners. I have not used an electric canner to can my jars in. But this is, and I think it's the same thing as a one pot, but I got a couple different ones, and then I sent back the one I don't really like. I got a Comfy brand. This one does have a setting. This is ceiling is up, and this gives me the steam in it for me to cook like regular food. If I had it on the ceiling one, this will lock in place and it will not release until the pressure is gone from there. So it tells you do not release the pressure, and if you go to touch this, you'd have a bunch of steam coming out. So I've never canned within here, but I've seen it on some of the videos, and some people say it's just fine to do that. The other question is, can you double stack? Can you double stack when you're water bathing inside of there? You want to be careful not to do that, because you're wanting that jar to seal, and if something's hitting on it, it's not going to get a good seal on it. So the All-American, this is like your one pot, or mine's a Comfy. And then it does have pressure cook right on it. Water bath canning, pressure canning. I know I'm probably missing a lot, and hopefully on Thursday you'll join me, 7 o'clock Central Time. And I might not be explaining something correctly where you'll ask the question, then I can answer it. I hope you have a glorious day.